Alright, welcome to Fall Weather Friends. You can probably guess who's going to be getting the points here. It's going to be 1 point for both Rainbow Dash and Applejack for being fucking... For Applejack, it's just flip-flopping her personality constantly and being either a jerk or nice or arrogant or nice or just all around bad. And for Rainbow Dash, it's just the constant cheating and being an asshole. And also just assuming the worst in her friend. Even though Twilight proved her wrong, she still assumed the worst. And when Twilight proved Applejack wrong, Applejack was like, oh, okay, fine. God, this episode's not good for Rainbow. We're starting off this episode with some racially motivated insults. Applejack calling Rainbow a pony with her head in the clouds, and Rainbow calling Applejack a workhorse. Now we can just take this literally because both are technically correct statements if we just look at them straight up. Applejack works and is a horse, Rainbow lives in clouds, makes sense. But given the context of competitive smack talk, I'm gonna say this is intended to sting and be insulting. So, rude. Now I'll get this right out of the way. I don't really care about this rivalry until much later when it becomes more wholesome instead of an insult fest. It's similar to why I didn't like episode 8, Look Before You Sleep, because they devolve from their caring nature already demonstrated. Like, in episode 1 is technically an anomaly due to it being an apocalyptic scenario when everyone was on their A game, nor do I think this is breaking character, at least not until it becomes excessive. Again, look at Look Before You Sleep. Rainbow is upset at losing, and Applejack tries to be a good sport and tell her that it's all in good fun. But immediately after that exclaims, "You're a mighty good athlete, I'm just better," kind of ruining the attempt at being nice. Applejack has some extra eyelashes in this shot for some reason. This happens a lot. I mean, a lot. You'll see it even in the videos. And I don't really get why it happens. I think it's supposed to be like they're under eyelashes, but they don't do it all the time on even characters that normally would have them, like Rainbow, no. Like Rarity. Anyway, so Rainbow calls Applejack out, asking if she thinks she's the best athlete in Ponyville. In which case, Applejack replies, "Well, I would have said Equestria, but that'd be Gildan the Lily." As in, boasting more than she should. And we also had the entire episode about Ghostbusters where they hate boasting, and here they are boasting. I just realized that. That's so fucking stupid. Anyway, Rainbow claims she's the best. More of that. So here's the plot of the episode. Two narcissists have too large of egos to lose, so they have to fight in what I think will be like 20 events to determine who's the better athlete. They dub it the Iron Pony competition, modeled after the real-world Iron Man competition, which is a triathlon. Twilight is chosen as the judge for their events, which makes sense, obviously. And here we see Spike riding Twilight like usual, no saddle, no comfort for my boy. Spike also takes on the role of commentator this episode, and at least until Pinky jacks his shit. Aw, everyone came to cheer on their friends for the event, how sweet. Also, Spike's microphone is a stick. I'm concerned I won't have anything to talk about this episode, honestly. It's just going to be a lot of events and posturing, so I might just end up talking about the events and deciding who I think would have won them. Maybe there'll be some more shit. We'll see how long the episode ends up being. Rainbow starts sweating, so Applejack tells her not to worry, that it's all in good fun. So is she arrogant thinking she's the best, or is she a proper sports pony? I'm feeling inconsistency in Applejack's attitude so far. Rainbow wins the first event, which is barrel weaving, and given that Rainbow's training specifically for the highest level stunt flyers in the world, it makes sense. Applejack trains for rodeos, but the stakes are pretty different, as is their training schedules. Rainbow has a lot more free time than Applejack, and Rainbow can train while doing her job in the skies. All in all, I will give Rainbow Dash that point. Oh, okay, we're back to Applejack telling Rainbow to sit the fuck down and not get used to winning. I'm not into hyper-competitive sports or anything, but is this flip-floppy smack-talking normal? Or is this just inconsistent writing? Because, Applejack is trying to be, a good sport, but then immediately doubles back and is like, hey, yo, you a bitch. I'm just confused. Jump scare bomb on 28. Also, I do see the non-red apples in the trees, but I don't know if this is Sweet Apple Acres or not. It might be, given just how large it seems to be, and the fact that they have at least 4 or 5 fields, so maybe I'm just crazy and the constant red apples is just them being lazy and not placing different ones. Except when they decide they randomly should. Also, the next event is evident, as you can see, a strength test. I wonder how this will go. Will it be the magically enhanced Earth Pony, or the pretty athletic Pegasus? Lyra 22. Also, wow, Applejack sent it into orbit. Who could have seen this coming? Obviously, Applejack wins strength-based events 100 times out of 100. It should not be a surprise to anyone. Despite not liking attention, Fluttershy is in charge of updating and showing the scoreboard. I guess the crowd's not too big yet, but she's just really happy to be doing this and being a part of her friend's adventure, which is cute and all. But shouldn't she be, super shy and nervous to be looked at constantly because people are looking for score updates? Or maybe she knows they're looking at the score, not her, so she's fine with it. I don't know. I always just like to nitpick Fluttershy's shyness at times. It's not really that meaningful. Next is basically bull riding, but reversed. They have to buck Spike off. Applejack should instantly win with her insane power, but somehow Rainbow takes it. She uses some fast vibration bouncing technique, which somehow worked better than just one massive thrust. From my personal experience, holding onto a vibrating object is a lot easier than one propelled by a fucking rocket. The trend we will start to notice is that they keep picking events that one of them is obviously better at, according to the show anyway. Here we see lassoing, which is obviously Applejack's forte, because Rainbow's never fucking done it. And even then, she still performs pretty decent. So, ugh. Anyway, point for Applejack, I guess. Next event, juggling. Rainbow should have better dexterity, so yep, point for her, of course. Derpy 19. Fluttershy catches a rose in her mouth from the fans throwing them. Damn, that's bold and impressive. Where did this Fluttershy come from? There's a split-second bonbon here, but considering this entire episode shows all 3 of the backgrounders watching at various points, I'm just going to give them each one. Well, actually, I did give them more in Winter Wrap-Up despite them also being in one event. I guess I do actually have to count all of them, don't I? I'm going to regret this. Also, Applejack wins the hay bale toss. Who would have guessed? Ah yes, Rainbow totally wins at arm wrestling. That makes perfect sense. If you want to argue that Applejack's back legs and necks are more well trained than her front legs, that's fine. But if you want to tell me that Rainbow Dash trains her front legs specifically, and trains them better than a magically enhanced farmer who also trains for rodeos, I don't believe it. Derpy 20. I'm gonna regret my decision so much from Winter Wrap-Up, but I guess these numbers are just gonna be slightly inflated. Oops. Twilight just poofs away her notes here. We know she can teleport herself, but where do the items she teleports go? Is this a pocket dimension rules, or does it just go home? New magic scares me because I just get more questions. Apparently the game is now tied at 5 and 5, but I counted as Applejack having 2 more wins, so I'm guessing it should be 7 or 3. I don't actually know what my total is since I'm doing that in the editing phase, but you'll see the correct total on screen probably, most likely, hopefully. I better not have fucked it up. Also a lot of copy and pastes here, so I'm not going to count the bonbon and Derpy. They put Barry Punch's cutie mark on a different pony who is definitely just a reskin of Barry. Also, this pony has a lightning bolt cutie mark, which is usually weather related, which means it's usually seen on Pegasi, but she has no wings. So Rainbow Dash uses her wings here to give her a boost in the push-up competition, but again, why were they neck and neck in this one? Applejack should have had it easily. Also for my own score, do I consider using wings as cheating? Well, in this particular case, yes, because we see that Pegasi do wing-ups instead of normal push-ups later on, so she should have been doing those instead, which would have made more sense for how she was keeping up with Applejack. Applejack even tells herself to be a good sport, so she probably also thought that it was unsportsmanlike at best, and cheating at worst to just use her wings here. Seeing as they didn't start the competition with wings, and she didn't use her wings in combination. I don't know. They just broke the status quo of what the competition felt like, so it just doesn't work for me. Bonbon 30 and Lyra 23, who's also sporting another great meme face. Anyway, Rainbow Dash undebatably cheats here. Right before landing, she starts flying and just puts herself ahead of Applejack's score. I'm also going to count all of the cheating as an L for Rainbow in my own score. This is just a weird event. They're just carrying chicks over mud to their mothers without getting them muddy. I'm not sure how this proves who's a better athlete, but it does show itself to favor Pegasi. I wouldn't give either of them a point of this for my score because it's a nonsense event. Lyra 24. I am absolutely just in regret mode at the moment. Feel free to treat my count for these motherfuckers as 4 lower. I'm just too lazy to correct everything, and Winter Wrap-Up is already uploaded, so I'm not changing it. Also, the final event is a tug of war, which obviously Applejack should crush no contest. Okay, seriously, giga cheating. Also Bonbon 31, Derpy 21. So, Rainbow wins by 10 points, which is obviously wrong. My total will be on screen now. As for Rainbow this episode, well, remember when I said last episode that Rainbow values competition and hard work? Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm clearly wrong. Or at least I'm thinking of a more developed Rainbow from future seasons. Rainbow straight up lies and cheats constantly. It's a good thing she's not the element of integrity, or else I'd have a lot more problems. Anyway, the better question is this disloyal in any way? Well, let's grab that definition of loyalty. Faithful to a private person to whom faithfulness is due, or faithfulness to a cause, ideal, custom, institution, or product. And faithful is steadfast in allegiance, adherence to promises, or in duty, as well as true to facts or a standard. Rainbow Dash hasn't technically set up anything like this. The way her loyalty is described in the show is loyal to her friends, in which case lying and cheating could be seen as disloyal to those of private persons she calls friends, who are due her loyalty. I'll let you all decide, but I'm in camp disloyalty probably. Applejack calls her ass out, and Rainbow says Applejack's words are sour apples, which I guess is sore loser? It's a nice stand-in and a pretty good dig, honestly. It's super shitty, but it's clever at the very least. Rainbow claims she was never told not to use her wings, so she did, and Applejack thought it was obvious to keep the playing field fair. However, Applejack is supposed to have the unfair physical advantage. I'd argue they should have discussed this prior in more detail, but the fact is that the events she used them on, we were shown that they were exclusively using their hooves or some other form of body part, meaning that they should have stuck to that to keep the playing ground truly even. Technically, again, I would argue that the wings would balance out the physical strength difference, but if Rainbow was going to use her wings, which are a natural part of her body, she should have done so from the start, and doing so in the way that she did do it comes across as dishonest and cheap. And we learn that it's time for the running of the leaves. I'll go more into what it is when the episode does, but their bet is to race during it, no wings allowed, which is obviously biased in Applejack's favor. Obviously, we know that in terms of speed, Rainbow beats pretty much everyone in Equestria and beyond, and in terms of endurance, Applejack would probably be unstoppable, given how she worked for at least a few days straight during apple bucking season. Honestly, this is a pretty classic tortoise in the hare, but they don't even go for that. They go for something completely different, which is funny. And the both of them are still laughing, showing it's still kind of lighthearted, despite all the seeming aggression that's being let out between them. I'm out of my element here with this type of behavior. I'm not a fan of what I'm seeing, though. This goes from feeling like a friendly competition to a huge, angry grudge match way too quickly, and I just don't understand. Pinky has, as I said, jacked Spike's announcer shtick. Also Bonbon 32, and if it feels like I'm milking the number thing, I apologize. I'm just committing to my horrible decision from stubbornness. Lyra 25 and Derpy 22. Also, Golden Harvest has number infinity! Yeah, I know, it's double zeros. Also, the running of the leaves, we actually know what it is now, it's literally how they make the leaves of fall, which again brings all this timeline shit into question, and I saw in the recent episodes that I am correct and that they are not in order, so thank you for that. Maybe this episode was supposed to be released before winter wrap-up, but due to the, behind the scenes timing, it had to come out later. I think I'm starting to get a better idea of it. Applejack is number 8, and Rainbow is number 11. If Applejack was just one higher, there could have been a really good joke here. Oh well, guess I'll see if their numbers remain consistent. Spike tries to ask Pinky to join her in commentating, but he chickens out, and Pinky, in a rare instance of social awareness, offers to let Spike join her! Way to go, Pinky, I'm proud of you. Twilight is number 42. Heh, wait. Twilight is the meaning of everything? I mean, I guess that tracks in universe, considering she solves everything. In this world, if there's a question, the answer is usually Twilight. The jock duo call Twilight an egghead. Honestly, I'd say it's more of like a banana mixed with a cantaloupe and maybe a carrot. Anyway, Twilight says she's just well-read, which is, yeah, fair enough. But also, where's the Rainbow from last episode who was encouraging Apple Bloom, instead of just shitting on someone who's trying to accomplish something and do something new? As Rainbow continues to taunt Twilight about reading about running, some backgrounders also enjoy the teasing. But for real, if Twilight actually tried running instead of a light jog and taking it slow, she would do way worse, and she even says so at the end of the episode. Which means her reading those books actually did give her the knowledge not to explode from her lack of exercise. If you were someone who was mad at the best continuity, I apologize for what's about to happen. If you found that entertaining or funny, you might enjoy yourself. Golden Harvest, who had, the infinity joke, is now number 10, and this random background pony is now the double zero. Pinky does a title drop and says My Little Ponies. How cute. The show itself does this from time to time as a fun gag, but they also delve more into the running of the leaves, which is a more important thing to talk about. It's a Ponyville tradition similar to Winter Wrap-Up, in that it is that the rhythmic running causes the leaves to fall. They could have just used wind, but I guess Earth Pony founders wouldn't have been able to. Ponyville is being repeatedly shown to be a very traditional town, so that also tracks. Applejack and Rainbow Dash no longer have their number cards on their flanks. They're still not there, and this is about 30 seconds later. Oh, hey, there they are. And they're still the correct numbers. Good job. Sort of. I mean, you fucked up, but hey, at least you got this part right. And it's gone again, the numbers that is. So you see what I've devolved into? It's the vest bullshit all over again. There's not much to talk about, though. It's just a race, and all the commentary from Pinky is mostly jokes, which I can't really translate well. Rainbow Dash is somehow behind Applejack now after being neck and neck, and Rainbow doesn't have her number again. I'll also count Bonbon 33 and Lyra 25 once here for the entire race because I don't want to get into the craziness. Applejack tries to justify to herself that Rainbow tripped her given how Rainbow was cheating. That's somewhat fair. But Twilight explains that if she had paid attention and slowed down a little, she'd see that she tripped on a rock. Well, I didn't think the rivalry episode was going to turn into a slow down and smell the roses lesson. Did you? Rainbow looks behind her and doesn't see any pony, so she slows down for, I kid you not, literally 2 seconds. I checked, and Applejack somehow just zipped by her. Applejack has channeled Pinky's Pinky Force and teleported to wherever the fuck she wants. Somehow, they kept Rainbow Dash's number on, but forgot Applejack's despite them being in the exact same shot, only for it to reappear on the close-up. Rainbow Dash then also trips like Applejack did, and she also tries to blame her opponent, which makes a lot less sense, seeing as Applejack hasn't cheated, and is literally honesty incarnate, so shouldn't, cheat. And Twilight once again points out it was a stump. Rainbow also chooses to completely ignore Twilight's evidence and words, and instead just stay angry, until Twilight also demonstrates that she's angry at Rainbow's attitude, so Rainbow backs off a little bit. At least until Twilight is out of earshot, and then she immediately enters Giga Cheater mode. Those of you who watched the CMC episode and knew this one was coming right after, might have laughed at me for daring to insinuate Rainbow Dash respecting competition and effort. I humbly apologize for giving her the benefit of the doubt. We learned some deeply important lore right here as Pinky prefers mustard over ketchup. Let me just... Oh, okay, there we go. Oh, and Spike likes pickles, which I guess is interesting. Oh, hey, actual lore. We learned that where they currently are racing is called Whitetail Woods, so that's neat. No number. Rainbow uses a branch to smack Applejack. The actual cheating has begun. Also number. Also assault. So Applejack, realizing that Rainbow did that on purpose, uses the tree branch to launch herself. Disclaimer, trees don't work like this. No, not even the bendy ones. Trust me, I tried. And she has no number again. Unlike with the vests, I'm gonna keep this one going. Fuck you, you can't tell me what to do. And then Applejack knocks bees into Rainbow's path, which hilariously just speeds her up because she's afraid now. At this point, I'm just covering all the cheating they're doing because, again, there's not much to talk about during the race. And no number again. I'm not going to count how many of these I've counted because I'm lazy, but it's probably a lot. Rainbow's huffing her own hype like it's paint thinner. Also, she changed the sign behind her to make Applejack go the wrong way. Not sure why Applejack didn't notice the lack of trees and increasing elevation, but whatever. Spike literally says what I just said, that there's no trees, and Applejack is just like, oh, I followed the sign. Girl, you gotta use your own head. That much blind trust in signs ain't right. Pinky and Spike give Applejack a lift directly into first place. Y'all know this is like an actual competition, right? Not just involving Applejack and Rainbow, and you just helped her cheat really hard? Kinda fucked up, not gonna lie. Again, neither Spike nor Pinky are the element of integrity either, so oh well. Also, yes, the signs on the flanks of the horde of ponies are constantly flip-flopping and not being correct. I'm just not bothering to go into them because I was more focused on Applejack and Rainbow Dash, but trust me, I'm aware of how much they've changed. Applejack sap traps Rainbow Dash. Applejack has now officially cheated more than Rainbow Dash, at least for this specific race, not for their entire Iron Pony competition. Also, here's Derpy 23. I already counted Lyra and Bonbon for the race, so I might as well count Derpy here. Also, to the person who said that the clones are just changelings, fuck, you're right. I'm an idiot. That's a way better explanation and joke. God, I just forget I'm an idiot sometimes and just forget complete and utter lore of the series, even though I literally brought up the fucking guy, Thorax, in a previous episode. Ugh. Anyway, good job. I'm just not clever. I really want to make a joke here, but a viewer said they haven't finished the show, so I'll refrain from creating spoilers. Just laugh like I said something funny. And Twilight won a medal for 5th place, which proves that this was actually a legitimate contest that both Applejack and Rainbow Dash cheated at, but luckily they came in joint last place, so hooray for cheaters never prospering. As for Twilight, she said her strategy was just to pace herself and then fucking blitz it at the very end, which is how she got 5th. So, there you go. That's what her book taught her. Fucking Princess Celestia appearing out of nowhere is already funny, but the shit-eating grin from everyone bowing before her is even funnier. We could look at this in a I'm better than all of you way, or we can look at it in a look at all these cute ponies acting silly, and I'm gonna go with the latter because out of everything I've pointed out about her, that makes more sense. Celestia apparently loves fall and came to celebrate the Ponyville tradition of the running of the leaves, which is super sweet. She also came without a royal retinue or a carriage, or without even announcing herself until it was over, as to not steal the spotlight or put pressure on any pony. Top tier kindness and consideration for others. Again, further reinforcing the fact that she definitely isn't like super arrogant. Man, sure am looking forward to that season fucking whatever episode that I'm gonna be ranting and raving about. Celestia remarks that it's alright that they were poor sports, as she understands that any pony can be swept up in competition. And Twilight comes in with an abridged letter to Celestia, that friendship is always more important than competition. I mean, yeah, probably. Unless the competition is like world-altering consequences involved, you should probably prioritize good sportsmanship and kindness, huh? Celestia gives them the light punishment of continuing the race fairly to help knock down the rest of the leaves. Pretty fair and just punishment for cheaters. Basically community service. Man, look at Celestia being super fucking just all around goated. Man, oh, I'm gonna be so upset in that future episode. You know it's coming. If you know, you know. Ugh. And that was Fall Weather Friends. It's a fucking Rainbow Dash Applejack rivalry episode. The first one like where it's majorly focused on. And I already mentioned I didn't really care for it. I still don't. It's just not interesting. It's not wholesome. It's just them being assholes and then suddenly being nice and then suddenly being assholes and then suddenly being nice. I don't know if that's how it normally goes in competition, but I'm not a fan of this. This one's getting like a 4 out of 10. It's not the worst shit I've ever seen. It's just annoying. So it's a little bit below average for me.